Thank you. We're so happy to be here. I will say a lot of the sessions this week about possibility and dreaming big, and this is a session about actual impact. And what's really exciting is about a year ago, actually almost a year ago today, WGU and Grammarly formalized an incredible partnership. And we're gonna really dig into what has happened in the last several months of working together. So Tiffany, do you want to introduce your role and what you do at WGU?
Sure. My name is, as she said, Tiffany Sluk, and I am the Director of Evaluation Operations. So we help support kind of that infrastructure and foundation behind the assessment experience for our students. And so we don't do the evaluating of the student work, but we support those who do.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the challenge that WGU presented to Grammarly a little over a year ago. We're going to get into what we created together. We're going to share what impact we have quantified so far, and then we're going to share a little bit more about what we're doing next together. So with that, and we have 18 minutes, fast and furious, so no pressure. Do you want to go ahead and give us a state of the state? What was sort of the challenge that you guys were facing?
Sure. So in our model, the students submit their work, and one of 1,500 plus faculty will evaluate the work across over 2,500 different types of performance assessments. And one of the things that we found is that faculty struggled to identify the competency within the content of the student work because of the writing. And it would sure be great if we could clean up the writing before the faculty got the work, because we hypothesized that it would speed up our time and allow us to impact even more students by evaluating quicker. One of the other issues was that students who were struggling with writing, the faculty would walk through it, try to figure out what they knew, and then they would send a referral, and it could delay the student up to 72 hours to get feedback or support on the writing piece, which was outside of the actual content that we were looking to do. And the other piece was we were inconsistent as faculty members. We had CPAs evaluating grammar, as well as English majors evaluating grammar, and across the board it just wasn't consistent. And of course we tried, but we noticed that it wasn't. So that was the challenge that we were facing.
Yeah, so enter Grammarly. We started having conversations a few years ago about how we could support. There were tens of thousands of students who were choosing to come to Grammarly on their own, and we had a lot of data on how those students were engaging with us directly. And that narrative, I think, proved to be a really powerful way for us to have broader conversations about what an enterprise deployment would be. Some of the value drivers when institutions think about enterprise deployment is creating equity and access to the same level of support, irrespective of whether a student can pay for their own premium license or happen to be in an institution that has provided that service. So we were meeting, and I would say in our previous state of Grammarly, we didn't actually have the exact workflow that you guys specifically needed. And so there was a moment in their evaluation of us where they said, hey, we put this RFP out, we are looking for 1, 2, and 3, but we really need this like real-time feedback, this sort of pedagogical intervention, because we are grading 5,000 high-stakes writing pieces every night or every day, right? So the volume was just such a huge impediment to seeing the scale of success that they were needing. And so we put our heads together and said, here is an incredible opportunity. Number one, when you are aligned around mission, which I have found to be the consistent experience from our partnership with WGU, we stayed laser focused on who Grammarly has always ever supported, just students, and who WGU was really trying to support, which was also students. And we just, we decided it was a really great opportunity, since we were so aligned in our missions and who we wanted to continue to serve, that we innovated together. And we created an experience that had never been created before. And that was something that we called the writing score. It's an API. And what it is, it's a high stakes, it's almost like a dress rehearsal before you submit high stakes writing. It's where students can get a lot of feedback based off of a rubric, and they get that feedback returned back to them so that they can then continue to work on their writing before they actually submit for a grade. And so this was obviously a big departure from Grammarly's previous workflows. We actually never inserted ourselves into traditional workflow, but we decided this was a great opportunity to see if this is actually going to improve outcomes for students, and if so, it's something we found to be a worthwhile investment of our resources. So we spent several months ideating and then working off of different beta experiences before we landed on the exact right piece of this. And let's talk about what happened next. So we officially went under partnership officially a year ago. And in the last 12 months, we've had some pretty incredible results. Tiffany.
Yeah, so we went under partnership about a year ago, and one of the first hurdles that we jumped through, was to get our students access to Grammarly. Because part of the solution was actually giving them that real-time feedback as they were working on their writing assignment, so that they could make the edits when they needed to write and make those edits. And then in about August, we actually deployed the system. So what happened there was when a student uploads their work to our system, it generates either a yellow or green kind of flag. And if it's green for their communication, they're good to go. If it's yellow, we're telling them very strongly that it's not good to go. But they could submit whether it's yellow or green, and it kind of goes through. Now, if it's yellow, we have automated feedback that kind of guides the student on some changes that they need to make and some support that they can get. But if it's green to go, they have the confidence that their writing has the clarity it needs, and then our faculty can actually sit there and assess the content that they're evaluating for competency. So that was part of the system. I think this is the next slide, the results.
Oh, on that side? So
yeah.
We don't have what you guys have a little bit.
So the impact was that we actually saw, now with this partnership plus something else, a reduction in about 2.5 minutes per evaluation. We evaluate about 3.5 million assessments a year. What that equates to is 145,000 hours that we've just saved, which means we can now support 300,000 more assessments when we average about 30 minutes an assessment. Those are students that we get to support because of this, and it's kind of on both sides.
When I heard that stat, I didn't believe it myself, because it just sounds so impactful. It sounds fake. But 145,000 hours just in 6 months, right? So we only have data through, I think, the end of February, early March. So our goal is to continue to see that number go even higher when we hit our official 1-year mark here in August.
Yeah, and there's other pieces too. One of the interesting things that we saw when we were looking at the data was that our students' pass rate on their performance communication score actually dropped 4.5%, which is actually pretty cool, because our theory was that we were being inconsistent, and it showed that we were being inconsistent. And so since then, it's come back up about 2.5%, and we want to hope that over the next 6 months to a year that continues to increase, so students are getting that real-time feedback. And then the other piece we had on there, I think, is the student engagement. We have over 119,000 users. It's continuing to grow. That's probably a little bit old. And it's about a 70% adoption rate at this time, so we still have room to go and more impact as we continue forward.
Let's talk about how faculty and students have responded. So one of our favorite student quotes is, "I didn't know what I needed until it was highlighted to me definitively where I was lacking." A lot of the stats that we see from large-scale deployment like this is there's a lot of students who are like sort of lurking in the shadows, who are unafraid to talk to their accounting faculty or their psychology faculty about their lack of confidence in writing. And so this experience provides a non-scary, non-emotional feedback mechanism for them to get the feedback, go back, iterate, and build the capacity to become the type of writer that they aspire to be without having to go wait till the next day, schedule the office hour with the faculty member. So we're really excited to hear that the ultimate person who we are both trying to impact are students, and the feedback has been incredibly positive about how this has transformed their experience as a WGU student.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just the equity that it provides for all of our students, regardless of what their background is or their experience or even their native language, it's providing that consistency from one side to the next. And it's also supporting our faculty, right? They're able to see what they are experts in. So our CPAs are focused on what they need to and not on the writing for the work that's being submitted. And we can kind of move forward with that.
Yeah. All right. So what happens next? We would love for you to download our report here on the productivity shift. This is really around our insight into how things are changing with AI, things that we can unlock. It's going to allow you to dive deeper into some of the things that we've uncovered as an enterprise solution provider for higher ed. Please stop by our booth too. We're here right outside of Stage X. And tonight, please, we are hosting, if you'd like to attend, a spelling bee. We are no longer just your go-to spelling partner, but we're going to have a little fun tonight. Anyone is welcome to attend. There'll be food and drinks, so please come if you'd like to, commingle with friends, colleagues. You aren't not required to participate in the spelling bee if you do not want to, but if you are an incredible speller, please come. We do have extra 5 minutes if there's any questions from the audience about how we partnered and how we are working together. Go ahead.
I'm just really curious about the faculty learning curve as we're also using Grammarly and we're aiming to visualize what's going to help adoption be successful. Are there any takeaways from WGU?
I feel like we're still in that learning curve phase. What we honed in on, Grammarly provides 4 different kind of ways of evaluating student work, and we really focused on 2. And so to answer your faculty question, that's been the challenge, is because we've got some English folks that are like, but, and it's like, no, this is what we're focusing on over here. Clarity, for example, we're focusing on that, less mechanics, as things are coming through. We've just continued to communicate and partner, and as folks are asking questions. Now, one of the things we actually intentionally did was we locked that aspect for when it evaluates, so it gets the score from Grammarly and a faculty member can't edit it. And so, as with any technology, there have been hiccups. And so we do have a way, we have leads that can go in and edit it if needed to. But one of the reasons why is because we didn't want folks to argue with kind of that bar that we set on consistency. So I think that calibration piece of, communicating and going through perhaps some examples would be helpful. With the conversation.
Yeah, and I'll just say, we at Grammarly understand that sometimes these decisions can be made a little bit in a vacuum at executive levels. What we have found is we have a deep commitment, an ongoing deep commitment to have continuous trainings with faculty. So, if you're a Grammarly partner, you get a customer success manager who looks at a lot of different data points around faculty usage. We highlight better practices. We understand the heavy lift in front of us is almost exclusively dependent on the rate at which faculty can understand the pedagogical impact that this can have for the better. And yet so much of, I'd say, faculty sentiment right now is maybe not on the fear side that it was 3 years ago, but we're not all we're seeing fascination and excitement and can't wait, right? It's probably a little bit of a mix where you have some eye rolling about some faculty who are like, always going to be first movers of tech, but the lion's share of faculty right now are really trying to figure out, how does this actually impact learning? How do I become a more effective teacher and coach, right? And I will say, anyone that comes here to this conference that says they definitively know how to do that is lying, because this is evolving in such a fast clip. So we're big on, here's what this institution is doing, here's how we're sharing an impact for this specific use case. So I would just welcome you to reach out to us, and we'll make sure we pour all the love and support on your faculty that we can. So very excited to see how this partnership continues to evolve. And I also want to plug that the culture, the reason why this is successful is that the culture of WGU is one around innovation and putting literally money where their mouths are in terms of their commitment to student success, and saying, how do we better serve one of the largest institutions of higher education in the world? So a lot of praise for you and your team, Tiffany. So
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your conference.